it's Elizabeth with betevents.com, here with my friend Liz Powell, Dr. Liz from positivesexpsych.com. And I've asked her to join me to help us all better understand what the word queer really means.
Yeah. So queer these days is used as kind of an umbrella term for people who don't identify as straight primarily, or as fitting into like mainstream heteronormative, mononormative models. So some people who are non-monogamous will consider themselves queer when it comes to their relationship style. Some people who don't feel that they fit into traditional gender boxes, whether they don't feel like they're strictly men, strictly women, they may be trans, they may be gender queer, they may be agender, will often identify as queer as it relates to their gender. And then folks who aren't purely straight or purely vanilla, if they're a little kinky, if they're non-monogamous in some way, will sometimes consider themselves queer or use that term as well.
I like that. I actually never knew that it didn't relate to gender specifically.
It can. So people used to use queer, especially a few decades ago, to strictly refer to people who are gay, so who are homosexual. As we have expanded the ways that we look at sexuality and gender, the queer umbrella has gotten bigger and bigger to accommodate more and more people. So genderqueer, for instance, is a term that's very common these days, especially among younger folks in their 20s and early 30s. And then, like, I myself identify as bisexual, but I'll also sometimes use the term queer as a way to get people to start asking questions rather than stop the conversation.
Okay, so actually I think that's a really valid point, is you generate a conversation from there. And listen, maybe in the 1960s and 1970s, when I grew up with that word queer, things have totally changed, and we've elevated our game. So start the conversation, ask the questions, and, could I be, if I were non-monogamous in my marriage, I would then be considered queer.
You can consider yourself queer. Queer, like a lot of labels, I will always validate someone's choice to apply a label to themselves. So if someone describes themselves as queer and identifies as queer, they have the right to identify as queer. You're just going to want to know that people may have certain meanings that they attach to that, and be prepared to have a conversation about it rather than assuming that that's going to tell them everything they need to know.
Oh, I like it. So that is a Fun Friday sex tip. I hope you've learned something, because I can tell you I sure did.
Yeah.
And anytime I get a chance to sit next to Liz, I'm going to take it.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Check me out, sexpositivepsych.com. I love writing about sex and relationship issues. Hope I get to see some of you there soon.
If you live in the Bay Area, check out her pole dancing, which I missed. I'm really, really sad because I heard it was really, really hot.
Yeah.
So next time.
Thanks.
Thanks, Liz.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Bye.
Bye.